What is going on, guys? It's Tora with a new video. Today, I will be discussing the future of Mexico's striker situation heading into the 2030 World Cup and why I believe that Hormiga needs to be a success for the Mexican national team. I'm recording this a few days after our elimination to England in the round of 16 at this year's World Cup. It does hurt a lot. It was a gut-wrenching loss, and it still hurts. But I'm looking forward to this Liga MX season. I'm looking forward to watching my Chivas play yet again. So to begin, let's talk about the strikers that El Vasco Aguirre brought to this summer's tournament. Let's start off with Raul Jimenez. He's going to be 39 by 2030. He transferred over to Wolves in the championship, so he's dropping a level. And I don't think in 4 years' time, I don't know if he's still going to be playing at the level he is now. So yeah, 39 years old. I'm not sure how competitive he's going to be by 2030. The next striker is Memote Martinez. He's going to be 35 by the next World Cup. Yeah, he's just a big striker that El Vasco Aguirre bought because he thought that he needed a big man up top in case we were desperate, and we were desperate against England, and then he didn't show it. Literally just brought for an aerial presence, and I don't see a future where he plays serious minutes for us moving forward. One player that might get serious minutes in the future is Santi Jimenez. He's going to be 29 by 2030. He can certainly help us, but it's just been a disastrous year and a half for Santi Jimenez ever since he joined AC Milan. Injuries, poor form. We've given him a lot of chances to prove himself with Mexico, and Santi just hasn't shown it. Literally, besides the 2030 Gold Cup final where he scored the winning goal, what has he done with Mexico? Literally nothing. And he was poor again this World Cup. I felt like, maybe we should have brought someone else on instead of Santi Jimenez, but Vasco did what he did. And I feel like a lot of Mexican fans have lost faith in Santi Jimenez. I feel like it's time to give him a break. He needs to find his form again, whether that be going back to Liga MX or MLS, staying in Europe. I hope he tries and stays in Europe, because if he goes back to Liga MX and MLS, it's just going to be, we're always going to be saying, what if Santi made the right decision after Feyenoord. But yeah, until he starts scoring again, we're not going to give him more chances to prove himself. So his future is still up in the air. I don't know if he's going to be in 2030. He should, all things considered, but, And before I move to talk about Hormiga Gonzalez, I also want to mention Julian Quiñones. He played at the left wing for us at this World Cup, and he was our best player by far. I think he could definitely help us. He's going to be 33 at the next World Cup. But yeah, he was our best player. And if we don't have like a strong candidate to play up top for us, we can certainly use Julian as our number 9. He played there at Atlas and with America. And yeah, especially if he continues shining with goals, whether he's in Saudi Arabia or if, European team decides to take a chance on him. I hope that he continues playing at a high level for the foreseeable future. Whether in 4 years' time he's going to still be at that level, so let's wait and see. He's not a young player, so we just got to hope that he can play this good in the latter stages of his career. Because like Raul, he's 35 years old, but he's still, he was still our best striker option for this World Cup. So 33-year-old Julian Quiñones, he certainly can still do it. He's the one that I have faith in the most if Hormiga doesn't succeed. So let's move on to Hormiga Gonzalez. He's going to be 27. He's going to be at that prime age. He's still with us. He's still with Chivas at the time of recording. He has a bright future, and he reminds me a lot of Chicharito, the way he create space, and then the ball just finds him, and then he scores. He still has to develop a lot. He's certainly not the finished product. He misses a lot of chances, with Chivas and with Mexico. He needs a lot of chances to score. But, I think that if he moves to Europe and then develops his game more, he's my candidate to be our main striker for 2030. And I know I'm biased because what he's done with Chivas this past season, I love him. And that's why I want him to succeed so much. I haven't been this attached to a player in a long time. So, Hormiga. It's tough because I want him to stay with us so that we can win Liga MX title, because I feel like he deserves a Liga MX title with Chivas. But I feel like what's best for him is if he goes to Europe right now and develops, whether that be, the Netherlands or Germany. Yeah. I have faith in him to make the right choices at the right time. And the reason that I have a lot of hope in Hormiga is because there's not really that many other young Mexican strikers in the Liga MX putting up any numbers other than Hormiga Gonzalez. If you look at this past Clausura season, the two top goal scorers other than Hormiga were Ponchito Gonzalez for Atlas and Castañeda for Tijuana, who he's now transferred over to Chivas. And both of them aren't strikers. They're both attacking midfielders. So looking at Mexican strikers, there's none. We have Henry Martin, we have Angel Sepulveda, but those are mid-30s and shouldn't even be considered for 2030. But yeah, if we look at other potential striking options for Mexico, I'll deep dive into two more players. First, Germán Berterame for Inter Miami. I was surprised he didn't make this World Cup because it seemed like he was one of Javier Aguirre's favorites. And I'm glad that he was dropped because I didn't think he was better than any of the strikers we ended up taking. But yeah, he's been all right for Miami. Mainly only watch Miami highlights for Messi. I don't watch MLS. But from what I've heard, he's had a tough start to the season and he has been improving. But I don't think that Berterame is ever going to be good enough to make that jump to Europe. He's 27. He's going to be 31 by the World Cup. So he could certainly make it if he continues playing good. But I just see his level being like MLS or Liga MX or even lower. I don't see him, improving his game at all. It wouldn't surprise me if he does get brought back under Rafa Marquez, but I just don't see it personally. And then last person I'm going to talk about is Stefano Carrillo. He's 20. He's very young. He's going to be 24 by the next World Cup. So he's still, a very young prospect. After Santi moved from Feyenoord to AC Milan, Feyenoord actually brought Carrillo from Liga MX over to them. And then he was loaned out this past season to a second division team in the Netherlands. Dordrecht, I think that's how you pronounce it. But I hope that him being already in Europe at such a young age will help him develop. We just need him to prove himself as a striker, start scoring goals with his teams, and make the right career decisions. And that I just hope he isn't one of those players that go to Europe, fail, and then come back like Jota Macias. He went to Getafe very young, terrible season, brought back to Liga MX, and now no one's talking about Jota Macias anymore. And I know there's still 4 whole years until the next World Cup. Plenty of time for Mexican strikers to, show themselves, prove themselves worthy. Of the ones that are going to play this season in Liga MX, we have Sergio Aguayo, Deon Wilke for Chivas and Tapatío. Jota Macias, if he ever recovers from his constant injuries. We have Pato Salas, Esteban Lozano from America. You have Santi Munoz, Tajiel Jimenez, Osvaldo Virgen, Roberto de la Rosa. They just need to be given chances. And, playing in Liga MX, a lot of these young Mexican strikers aren't going to be given much chances. They might be given 1 or 2 chances, but if you don't perform, then they're just going to buy a foreign player, a South American player, Colombian, Argentinian striker to fulfill that role. And ultimately, if by 2030 we're still trying to pin our hopes on Santi, Jimenez, or Hormiga, I feel like that's the Liga MX fault for not promoting the youth, and a lot of our Liga MX teams, preferring foreign players rather than trying to develop, the young Mexican talent. I hope that in this cycle, some young Mexicans can step up and show their quality so that we don't have to put all of our faith into the Hormiga basket. Let me know in the comments if you know of anyone else that I should keep a lookout for in the future. Whether they play in Liga MX or if they play abroad. Because look, if we cast our minds back to 2022, I doubt there were many shouts that Armando Gonzalez would make the 2026 squad. Even going back last year, like not that many people were talking about him. He wasn't in the radar of most Mexicans. Obviously as Chivas fans, we knew Hormiga, but before he started scoring goals, we weren't saying like, oh, he has to be at the World Cup. But now we're saying he has to go to the World Cup. So yeah, hopefully some Mexicans pop off these next few seasons. Let me know if you'd be interested in any other dives into any other positions. And I hope you all have a lovely day. Goodbye.